If I may now welcome our first speaker, a long-standing staunch supporter of the Tibet movement, an MP for over 20 years, Tim Loughton, MP. Please come on stage and share your thoughts on this occasion.
I'm up here. I'm going to hold on to the lamppost. Friends, it is so good to see so many of you here in Whitehall today, and you bring some great colour and great voice to a very grey day otherwise. And as Pemba said, you are just a small representation of the many Tibetans in Tibet throughout the world, and the supporters and friends of Tibet like me and many other millions of people around the world who support your cause. And as Pemba said, I've been a long-standing friend of Tibet in Parliament in my 23 years, but it was also the very first demonstration I ever went on as a student when we marched to the Chinese embassy with the Tibet Society back in the 1970s, and I've been doing it ever since. So what you're doing today is so necessary to keep up the pressure on this important issue. So it is with sadness that we commemorate 61 years since the uprising against that oppression and the occupation by the Chinese, which goes on unabated to this day. We remember those more than 1 million peaceful, peace-loving Tibetans who have lost their lives at the hands of Chinese oppression over all those years. And now we are joined by the oppression of the Uyghurs, by the clampdown in Hong Kong, by the Chinese attitude towards the Taiwanese as further examples of just what a cruel and oppressive regime the Chinese can be. All the Tibetan people want, the most peace-loving people in the world, is to be able to live their lives in peace and security, to look after your families, and to practice in your faiths and beliefs in ways that your relatives and ancestors have done for centuries beforehand. That isn't asking much. That's what all of us in the West and in this country take for granted. But if this demonstration were happening now in Lhasa, it wouldn't be lasting very long, we know, because the Chinese do not like criticism. At least in this country, we can come together. We can plead the case of Tibetans who are in effectively incarceration in Tibet within China, and just ask for basic human rights that we all take for granted to be respected there. And the only way you deal with the Chinese is to stand up to them. That's the way you stand up to bullies. That's the only way you deal with bullies. So you have many friends in this parliament. I am honoured to be the co-chair of the all-party parliamentary group for Tibet, where we have members from the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, the Scottish Nationalists, and all the other parties who support your cause. This year we're bringing back the Tibet Reciprocal Access Bill, which I launched last year, based on what they've done in the United States Congress, where we need access to Tibet. We need our diplomats, media, to be able to get into Tibet to expose and publicise the bullying and the oppression that is going on in that part of the world. And if they won't allow us access, then we shouldn't be allowing Chinese government officials access to our countries as well. And that's what this bill does, and we're going to be bringing it back to Parliament in the next few weeks to make sure that the cause of Tibet is on the radar. Because the cause of Tibet is not just about Tibet. It's not just about Tibetans. It's about the principle of free speech and being able to live in peace and security and to practice your faith, your religions and your beliefs without fear of oppression. That's why this is such an important cause. That's why it is supported by so many millions of people around the world. So when you go on your demonstration to the Chinese embassy today, and I've been trying to see the Chinese ambassador for the last year, I send him weekly emails saying it'd be quite nice if you came to Parliament and had a chat with us rather than just your friends. We will keep doing that because we need to have dialogue and we need to have access and we need to make sure that this cause keeps on the radar. It is a fundamental abuse of human rights that we all hold so dear in this country, and we must not stay silent. So I'm glad you are as noisy as Tibetans always are today. I was privileged to meet again His Holiness the Dalai Lama the year before last when we went to Dharamsala, and it was good to see him in such good heart, and I know he will take great cheer from you coming out today on a cold, grey morning, because this is such an important cause. And remember, you have many friends just up the road in Parliament, and we will continue to work with PEMBA, the Society, and the Confederation of all the groups who support this important cause to make sure that at last we achieve justice for all the people of Tibet and expose the Chinese oppression for what it is. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out today, and the best of luck for this fantastic cause we must support. Thank you.